All right, good Monday morning. It is June 16th, 2025, and you are here at the Hat and Beard Show. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. That's what we absolutely love about you. Today, boys and girls, we've got an action-packed show. We've got 4 possible stories up on the docket. We'll see if we can slide through it. But leading off today, we will be walking over to NBC News. It broke, I think, Friday night. Former NFL star Antonio Brown wanted on attempted murder charge in Miami. The former Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver is accused of shooting at a man outside of an amateur boxing match in the city's Little Haiti neighborhood. The epic that is the dumbassery of Antonio Brown continues to unfold. We are going to just go ahead and walk on over and take a look at that because there's not a lot of stories popping off. We are in the middle of the slog of the offseason. After that, a little bit of a national news thing. You guys might have been paying attention. But up in Minnesota, people are getting wild. People are getting wild up in Minnesota. And ex-Vikings player blames, quote, weak, emasculated Tim the Wiener Walls for Minnesota lawmaker illings. I don't want to throw that word out there too early into the stream and have YouTube go ahead and crap her down on all of my stuff. But there was a little bit of bananery popping off in Minnesota. I don't know what's going on with you guys. I don't understand why you all seem to think you need to be the hotbed of tomfoolery. But we will discuss what exactly Jack Brewer had to say. He both played his college ball and professional ball in the great state of Minnesota. So a little bit of a insight there. And then we will be talking Detroit Lions. After that, we're going to go ahead and take a look at clutch points. Never really read them too often before, but 3 Detroit Lions in danger of getting cut after the 2025 minicamp. The Lions have one of the deepest rosters in the NFL before the 2025 season, as we should, considering we were an actual MASH unit. They should have just changed the Lions touchdown theme from that, forward down the field to they should have just played the MASH opening theme every time that the Lions scored last year. But the Lions have one of the deepest rosters, and these 3 Lions players could be cut after mandatory minicamp. We will go ahead and look into them, and there's one of them right there. We've been talking about his big lard ass for a while on this channel, and old Brodric Martin. I'm going to call him Brodric until he gets his head out of his ass and learns how to play. But he's on, obviously, the short list, and he's on the tip of everyone's tongue of a cut candidate, the moves that have been made. And then, something that I have actually been kind of pushing myself here. Over at Detroit Lions on SI, should the Lions sign Michigan Panthers quarterback? Would Bryce Perkins offer strong competition for Hendon Hooker? Something to go ahead and discuss. We will briefly talk about the fiasco that was the UFL championship. Needless to say, our Panthers, they shit the bed, right? Just right out the rip. They just went ahead and just laid right in their bed and just crapped all in it, and it was ugly to watch. Bryce Perkins did, however, walk away. Not only as the offensive player of the year, but the league MVP, further elevating his profile a little bit and nudging NFL teams to give maybe a little bit more of a glance his way, something that we have talked about on this channel. That is the Lions possibly bringing in Bryce Perkins to compete with Hendon Hooker, really put a little bit of heat under him, as Kyle Allen seems to be kind of not doing so well, at least in pajama practices. And if we have time, while we're on the topic of the UFL, we will kind of wonder, the USA Today has what's next for the UFL? News on expansion, attendance, and plans for the 2026 season. Try not to let the last championship game kind of sour your taste on the UFL. It was I'm gonna be honest, it was a bad game. It was a terrible game. It was not a good game to watch, especially as a Panthers fan. But we'll kind of discuss on some possibilities on what we can look forward to in Season 3 of the UFL. But before we get into that, would you guys do me a rock solid favor? There's quite a few of you guys hanging out this morning already. I really, really appreciate that. If you guys wouldn't mind, go ahead and looking at the chat here. We do have a poll up. Question, When the night falls, the loneliness calls. You can answer, yeah, I want to dance with somebody. No, you can tell me that I'm an odd duck, or that cheese is the only answer for that. If you know, you know. And I'm a dork boy, so you know. But down in the chat this morning, we got some people popping up. Brent DeWitt, good morning. Chasing Chase, good morning, my dude. Good morning, Mr. Detroit City. Did somebody say bananas? Haha, my guy. Good morning, Jeanette Hall. How's everybody doing today? So, I'm sure that you are new here and asking yourself, hey, oh my goodness gracious me, how can I be a part of the tomfoolery that is the Hat and Beard Show every Monday through Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. exclusively streaming from his Grandma Studio One. We are the largest, fastest growing NFL and Lions content creation station in the 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. block, streaming exclusive from my grandmother's old sewing room. You want to know? You can join up by subscribing to the channel. You can ring that notification bell so that you're aware and notified every time that we go live. Monday through Wednesday with plans to expand to 5 days a week. Keep your ears to the ground for a big announcement coming up. And last but not least, you could always assault that like button for me. Hit it with the 2-piece and the biscuit on your way down to the share button. Now, this share button is the most important thing you can do to help this channel grow. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is, look, in today's world of a well-manicured and cultivated social media profile presence, you don't want to let alone broadcast to the world, but you don't want to tell your friends and family. You're a friend of a fan of the Hat and Beard Show. I understand. I don't want to be affiliated with myself. So, what you can do is go ahead and just click that share button, copy that link on your clipboard. Over 80% of you watch this on mobile devices, so just go ahead and copy that link on your clipboard. Go ahead and do that 2-3 times. Okay, it just tells the algorithm that it's being shared out there and pushes us out into the abyss, into more eyes, so that maybe we can continue to grow here. We are chugging away, trying to get up to 700 subscribers. So I really appreciate all of you tuning in and hanging out. Just getting over the congestion. Still got a little bit of a brain fog from last week. We're going to go ahead and slog on through this. Let's get into the show, fellas.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
All right, guys. We're going to hit the oil can before we roll down this train. It is a great day for yard work. Indeed it is, Jeanette Hall. It is a great day. It's a little cool out right now. We are, it's set to rise, but we're doing okay on the temperatures. At least where the studio is right now, I have a northern exposure window to draw cool air in throughout the morning in here, which is quite a reprieve, especially this week. It's going to get kind of warm there, boys and girls. Get ready for an increase here. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and walk on over to NBC News. We're going to go mainstream as mainstream can be. Former NFL star Antonio Brown wanted on attempted murder. Former NFL wide receiver Antonio Brown is wanted on attempted murder charge in Miami, according to an arrest warrant. The warrant, signed by a judge Wednesday and provided by the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office, lists the charges as attempted second-degree murder with a $10,000 bond. The Miami Department confirmed Friday that Brown has not yet surrendered to authorities. Brown did not immediately respond to NBC News' request for comment. It is not clear if he has a lawyer. The charge stems from a May 6th... Oh, God damn it. Clicky, clicky, Mr. Clicky Clack. Come on. Well, there we go. The charge stems from a May 16th incident outside an amateur boxing event in the Little Haiti neighborhood of Miami, where videos circulated online appeared to show Brown in a melee where gunshots could be heard. I believe that was a YouTube boxing event. I want to say it was like one of them Aiden Ross type dealios. According to the warrant for Brown's arrest, Florida Highway Patrol officers were working off duty as security for the boxing event when several people approached a lieutenant with reports of hearing gunshots outside. Multiple witnesses identified Brown as the shooter. The warrant states who was patted down and detained. Brown, 36, was not armed at the time. The former Tampa Bay Buccaneers wideout then posted on X the next morning stating he was not arrested and was the victim in the attack. Why do they not list him as a Pittsburgh Steeler wide receiver? He spent significantly more time as a Steeler than he did any other team in the NFL. I wonder if that has something to do with the Rooneys being old money establishment in the NFL, not wanting their franchise to be dragged into this, or it just kind of wants to keep it local news, tell him why he might be there because he played for Tampa at one point. I don't know. Quote, I was jumped by multiple individuals who tried to steal my jewelry and cause physical harm to me. Contrary to some video circulating, police temporarily detained me until they received my side of the story and then released me, Brown wrote. That's right. Oh, you are always the victim. Always the victim. Rich guy is the victim. But after reviewing security footage the following day, officers identified Brown as punching another man, sparking 3 other individuals to join the fight, according to the warrant. The footage then allegedly showed Brown taking the firearm of a security officer and approaching the man he had punched. Wow. You know, there's one thing old Antonio Brown is good at. It's making very, very high IQ decisions. Like taking the firearm of a security officer and then approaching the man he just assaulted. Cell phone video captured 2 shots fired, with the man Brown attacked ducking after the first shot was heard, the warrant states. During their investigation, officers found 2 spent shell casings and an empty firearm holster at the scene. In an interview with authorities, the man who was allegedly attacked stated he had known Brown since 2022 and positively identified him as the person who shot at him, grazing his neck, according to the warrant. The man had visible injuries and was treated at the hospital the night of the incident. Yep. So, boy, Antonio Brown is, oh boy, he's going to get the old mouse catul. Ha! He's going to get it. Oh, he's in big trouble. You're in big trouble, young man. The 36-year-old has faced multiple run-ins with authorities over the years throughout his 12-year career in the NFL, much of which was spent with the Pittsburgh Steelers following his 2010 draft. Brown was released from the New England Patriots after one game in 2019 amid SA allegations made by a former trainer, a lawsuit that was ultimately settled in 2021. Brown denied the allegations. Brown was then signed by the Buccaneers, where he played for 2 seasons, during which he faced a 3-game suspension for faking his COVID-19 vaccine status. So good on him for faking it. I'll give him that. His life off the field continued to stir controversy as Brown landed himself on probation for attacking a truck driver in Hollywood, Florida in 2020. Late in 2021, Brown ended his NFL career in dramatic fashion, pulling off his jersey and walking off the field at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey before the end of the Tampa Bay game against the New York Jets. So as you can tell, if anybody's been following the Antonio Brown saga, my man's brain is pudding. Next headline we see when Antonio Brown will probably be when he's being extradited from wherever he's hiding. Heard he might be in Egypt. Yeah, I've heard, Brent DeWitt. I did see that he's not in the States. And you wonder if he maybe decided to flee. And if he did flee, he's going to want to flee to some place that doesn't extradite. Maybe him and maybe Putin will offer him amnesty next, like he did Elon. He never got help for CTE. That's correct. Sam Armstrong. This is so this story popped up, I think, Friday night, and I was at work reading it, sitting there with G, and I was like, "Oh, damn, dude, Antonio Brown got in trouble again." He's like, "Oh, for real?" And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, like, okay, yeah, it's funny, and we can sit here and we laugh at it, but he's clearly a sick man whose brain ain't right." And very few instances in the world can you like track back to one specific hit. Vontaze Burfict broke Antonio Brown's brain. Vontaze Burfict broke Antonio Brown's brain, and he ain't never been right since. He does need help. Unfortunately, he's so far down the hole now. I'm sure that people have tried to help him. He doesn't want to hear it. He's Antonio Brown. He's an egomaniac, dude. He's too self-involved to see what the hell's going on. He's missing the forest for the trees, and the dude is just spiraling. Ultimately, maybe incarceration's the best thing for him. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, he can't live with money. He can't just be out there running rampant. You know what I'm saying? He can't just be out there left to his own devices, because clearly at 36 years old, he still can't make the right decisions. That's what I was saying. Brent DeWitt. Yeah, I agree. Both you guys are right. He never got help for the CTE, and we know how detrimental CTE can be. Junior Seau, look at the travesty that was, Aaron Hernandez, you know what I'm saying? All these players who, once the CT, and you never know you have CT until they analyze your cold brain. Antonio Brown or Antonio Clown. Ah, man, Mr. Detroit City, I never thought of that. That's funny. That's funny. But the thing is that, these guys, they never get help for it until it's far too late, and it's always a travesty. And unfortunately, if Antonio Brown continues on the path that he's going down, he'll end in just a crash and burnout, another sad story and an ongoing tale of scrambled brains and egomaniac dipshits with too much money. If I'm just being honest, it's probably statements like that why we lose subscribers every day. Well, not every day. We did lose one over the weekend, but that's neither here nor there. We're going to go ahead and roll on over to the New York Post. You guys know me reading such prestigious rags as the New York Post. If you haven't already, would you kindly subscribe to the channel if you're new here, ring that notification bell so that you never miss out on any future content. Like the video, hit it with the old 2-piece and a biscuit on your way out the door, and share this video around with all your friends. It helps the channel grow. Down here at New York Post, ex-Viking player blames, quote, weak and emasculated Tim Wiener-Walls for Minnesota lawmaking killings. Can you believe that Tim Wiener-Walls was almost a heartbeat away from being the president of the United States? How wild is that? Could you imagine what a laughing stock of a country would have been if that was the guy? If he was the VP like that? Jesus Christ. Former Minnesota Viking and University of Minnesota football player Jack Brewer spoke out about the early morning shootings that left one state lawmaker and her husband dead and a second lawmaker and his wife injured. Brewer, who played 4 seasons for the Golden Gophers before starting his NFL career with the Vikings in 2002, cited Minnesota Governor Tim Walz for allowing the state to become, quote, the capital of chaos. Quote, we need to start calling it as what it is. These people have lost their minds. I am heartbroken to see one of the most amazing states in America completely turned around under Governor Tim Walz. Minnesota is confused, Brewer told Fox News Digital. Excuse me, sorry about that, fellas. Still got that sinus nonsense. Quote, I played for the Vikings. I played for the Gophers. I have lived in Minnesota for years. It was not like this. People were respectful. People could disagree and still have conversations. I still have a lot of family there, and it hurts to see what they're living through. Minnesota has become the capital of chaos in America. That's not right. It's not a reflection of the true people of Minnesota. There are a lot of good people here, but the liberal hub around Minneapolis and St. Paul has taken over, and it's dangerous. Tim Walz is the leader of that. His Attorney General, Keith Ellison, is right there with him. Vance Luther Boutelier, 57, is wanted in the shootings. 2 sources familiar with the matter told the Associated Press. Baudelaire reportedly earned his Ph.D. in Leadership for Advancement of Learning and Services from the Cardinal Stitch University and was appointed to the state's Workforce Development Board by 2 Minnesota governors, according to Fox 9. Look at that old bastard, goofy bastard. He was reportedly initially appointed by Governor Mark Dayton in 2016 before being reappointed by Governor Tim Wiener-Walz in 2019 as a private sector representative to the council. Baudelaire's term expired in 2013. I don't even know if I'm saying his name right. Fuck that guy. He's a douche. Walz's office did not immediately report to Fox News Digital's request for comment. Of course he didn't. Butthole Lier allegedly posed as a police officer when he shot Senator John Hofferman and his wife in their Champlain home early Saturday, leaving them seriously injured before moving on to former Democratic House Speaker Melissa Hortman's house, where he allegedly killed her and her husband. Jesus Christ, dude. What the fuck is wrong with people, man? This morning, Walz told reporters the attack was clearly politically motivated, but he did not reveal that the suspect was his own appointee. Brewer believes the incident is a result of Democrats and Walz's leadership and called for a, quote, return to masculinity. On this Father's Day, I wish Minnesota would focus on restoring fatherhood, protecting women, protecting families. Tim Walz is the example of a weak, emasculated leader. That is not what God made fathers to be. It is pathetic. I agree. And it's so fucking insane that we literally had a whole election cycle where people were trying to say that Tim Walz, that guy, this guy, look at that guy. Look at old douche nozzle McGee. Look at him. Tampon Tim Wiener Walz. I like to make spicy tacos. I'm Tim. AOC runs a mean pick six. I served in the army. Don't forget, he lied about what he did. Right? He lied about seeing action and being in active duty and all that shit. Tim Walz, what a fuck nut, dude. It's terrible. The root cause of all this evil when you're willing to attack, ridicule, riot, and protest anyone who believes something different, even in your own party. You've gone too far. The Democrats have gone too far left that if you're not a raging liberal, you're under attack. They're forcing everyone to the party, in the party, to conform. Whenever you give Satan the power, he shows his face. That's what we're witnessing now. Yeah, this whole statement right here, it's terrible. It's the root cause of all the evil. When you're willing to attack, ridicule, riot, and protest anyone who believes something different, even your own party, you've gone too far. And the Democrats have gone too far left. If you're not a raging liberal, you are under attack. Ain't that the truth, boys and girls? That's that Overton window we talk about all the time. That's what and Jack Brewer, he nails it, dude. This dude nailed it. Tim Walz has been a weak leader. He's allowed his state to just collapse into fucking anarchy. And unfortunately, the people in Minnesota, this is what you voted for. This is what you wanted. So the only thing I can say to you motherfuckers that don't want it is get out. Get out. Run to the hills. Get out of that shithole. Let it fail along with California, dude. Down in the chat, Sam lives in Tampa. You guys couldn't still bet the Antonio Brown. Sorry, I went too high up. Hey, Carrie, good morning, buddy. How you doing this morning? Tampons and kitty litter in all bathrooms. FT, yes, dude. That's Sam Armstrong. That's exactly it, dude. They got too ridiculous, and Tampon Tim was like, put tampons in the boys' bathrooms. I don't understand what I'm supposed to do with a tampon. Actually, okay, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be real. There is one application, and I don't say that guys should, carry tampons on them, but you should know where a tampon is at, especially in Minnesota where things are getting wild. So, if you are ever in a situation where you or somebody you know is the victim of a gunshot and it's not a clean through, right? Like the projectile is still lodged in you. Tampons actually work really good as a field dressing. You can just jam it in the wound and it will swell and kind of clog up the hole. So there is a good reason for men to occasionally need to have a tampon, and that is if they're being shot. That's about the only application a man would have, is if they have a newly created orifice that is bleeding profusely all the time, not just once every month or so. You know what I'm saying? He looks like he thinks mayo is spicy. Yes, Chase, look at it. And especially that picture of him. Isn't that a terrible picture of him? Isn't that just did you put a little pepper in this mayonnaise? And they're like, no. Spicy mayo. Ooh, just a spicy mayo. I'd ride my bike out of the state of Minnesota if I had to. Yeah, that's exactly it, Sam. You are right. The lady lawmaker, there's an interview where you see her vote, where she talks about she voted against giving taxpayer medical benefits provided for by the taxpayers. She voted no against it. And yes, she's like damn near in tears if she's not actually crying in the interview. I only seen a brief clip of it once, but it wasn't a fear of, oh my God, these people aren't going to be able to get what they want. She was actually you could tell this broad was afraid for her life, and clearly she Jingao. Dude, like, he has no idea what to say next. Dude, Tim Walz has that perpetually startled look. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Tampons will be added to the Hunter's first aid kits. I mean, it's not the worst idea, Jeanette Hall. That's not the worst idea. Throughout the years, I've worked with guys who are veterans who've seen, because the U.S. has been in forever wars over in the Middle East, literally my entire life. So I've worked with a lot of guys who've seen various degrees of active duty. And one of them was like, yeah, man, that was one thing that we carried on us all the times when they were out in the field was tampons, because they could jam a tampon in a bullet wound and it would act like a giant bandage inside the wound. Obviously, it's not what you want to do. You're not going to just like ram a tampon in a bullet wound and call it good. You know what I'm saying? Take some pills and your health bar is going to reset. Obviously, you need to seek medical attention. But if you're in the field or whatever, it is something you can kind of do in a pinch. You know what I'm saying? And if you think about it, they swell out, and so it kind of works. But yeah, dude, Tim Walz, and I can't get over the fact that this guy was almost a heartbeat away from being the president of the United States, and that they literally are like, this guy, this douche nozzle, this fucking chungus. Look at got a turkey gobbler. Receding hairline, turkey gobbler, bastion of masculinity. Yeah, get fucked. Get fucked. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and shift gears from political talk. Let's take a look over at the poll. We got 6 votes coming in. When the night falls, the loneliness calls. 67% of the vote seems to know what I'm getting at. And yeah, I want to dance with somebody. 0% of the vote, no. None of you think I'm an odd duck. I appreciate that. Thank you guys. That's what we love about you guys. And then 33% coming in with cheese is the only answer for that. All right, guys, if you haven't already, this was hit for sure. Democrats are evil SOBs. Sam, dude, my guy, I'm glad you're here, Sam Armstrong. I am glad you're here, dude. You really are fitting right in, dude. Oops, did that just am I still okay? Whew, I thought I minimized the program and lost the stream. Did you work retail living those 80s love songs, Mad Dog? Hey, man. Very briefly did I actually work in retail, and unfortunately, yes, I have a bad habit of singing really cheesy 80s songs, bro. I don't know why, man. They get me super duper hype. Recently, Whitney Houston has been getting me hyped. It's what I've been listening to before the shows. I can't explain it, dude. Something about 80s music, it just hits. You know what I'm saying? It just hits you right in the old bonerooskies. You know what I'm saying? You can feel it deep inside, and you just I gotta dance. I just want to dance. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't Tim Super Bowl QB to his Ivy Queens are the place? He should let his LGBT crew flourish, dude. Yes, exactly, Carrie. I agree with you. Tim's Super Bowl QB too. That's hilarious. That's funny. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get into this. Let's go ahead, and if you haven't already, would you mind subscribing to the channel, ring that notification bell so that you can be notified every day when we go live, Monday through Wednesday, with plans to expand. Keep your ear to the ground, and you shall hear the mighty buffalo as he approaches with his 5-day stream. Coming soon, the closer we get to the regular season. Go ahead and assault that like button. Hit her with the old two-pace and a biscuit on your way down to that share button. Copy that link onto your clipboard. You don't have to share it around with anybody. You don't have to. Just copy it on your clipboard. The algorithm thinks it's being shared around. I absolutely love it. Listening to them on Spotify, sometimes I think it comes from working retail. That's all they play all day. Dude, Mad Dog, you're right. That is what they played all day, all the time. And I worked at Meijer for a while, and it was just that, the best of the 80s, 90s, and today. You know what I'm saying? And that's like what I grew up listening to was just the Light Rock 95 FM or what is Light Rock around here? It used to be Oldies used to be 97.5. Then I think Oldies 97.5 turned into like Mike FM or Light Rock or something like that. But it's the best of the 80s, 90s, and I affiliate it not so much with retail, but with dentists and orthodontist waiting room offices. That's what I feel like. I call it waiting room music. You know what I'm saying? And it's just the most 80s of a lot of Phil Collins, you know what I'm Oh, Phil Collins! A lot of Phil Collins, you know what I'm saying? A lot of Hall & Oates, you know. Light Rock 99. There you go, Chase. My dude. Yes. Yes, dude. My guy. Light Rock 99. Hell yeah. Braces flashback, dude. You know what I'm talking about? Sitting in braces, orthodontist waiting rooms, listening to Light Rock 99. The best of the 80s, 90s, and today. Then they cue it up with some Billy Joel. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm moving out. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into this before I get too goofy and off on the rails here. Down at Clutch Points, never read these guys before, but 3 Detroit Lions in danger of getting cut after the 2025 minicamp. Lions have one of the deepest rosters, and justifiably so, as we all have a little bit of stress over the injury situation. We better be deep heading into the regular season. These 3 Lions players could be cut after mandatory minicamp. The Detroit Lions are ready to make another deep playoff push during the 2025 NFL season. Detroit will face more obstacles than ever in 2025, with much harder schedule and 2 new coordinators, but Dan Campbell and the Lions have never shied away from adversity before. Detroit has one of the deepest rosters in the NFL thanks to years of excellent drafting by GM Brad Holmes. That means the team now faces plenty of difficult questions every summer as they try to sort out who their best 53 players are. It's something that we should be getting used to by now, but is still a new thing for those of us here who have been around the Lions organization for many, many decades. And the concept of keeping the best 53 instead of just fielding a 53-man roster is it's still kind of new. It's still kind of new because we never got to have our pick of the litter. We just had to take whatever was available to us. The Lions will hold training camp next month, which will play a significant role in making those decisions. Unfortunately, not every player on the roster is even guaranteed a shot to prove themselves in training camp. We're looking at you, fat-ass Brodric Martin. But which players are in danger of being cut before training camp even begins? Will Ronnie Bell make it to Detroit's training camp? I don't know. I have this feeling that Ronnie Bell was in pajama practices to kind of fill in that Amon-Ra type player, you know, because Amon-Ra had off-season surgery. Maybe they didn't want to overexpose Leaf, you know what I'm saying? So maybe Ronnie Bell. And, hey, you know, a guy like Ronnie Bell might not be a bad guy to keep on the old Praktaruski squad, you know what I'm saying? The Lions addressed wide receiver with 2 picks in the 2025 NFL Draft. First, they made the controversial pick to trade up for Isaac Taslaw the 3rd round. The super controversial pick because it's so controversial that Brad Holmes went after his favorite wide receiver in the draft. Brad Holmes, who has just a history of drafting duds at wide receiver, especially duds at wide receiver in the mid-rounds. You know, guys like Cooper Kupp, Amon-Ra St. Brown. If anything, his least successful wide receiver was the guy he took in the 1st round who just had his breakout year going over 1,000 yards with 1,001 yards, Jameson Williams. That's not taking away from Jameson Williams. He's going to have a monster year this year. All I'm saying is that if Brad Holmes goes after you in the mid-rounds and you're a wide receiver and he calls you his favorite wide receiver in the draft, how is that a controversial pick? How is that controversial? I don't understand it. Then they added Dominic Lovett in the later rounds. Now the Lions suddenly have some difficult decisions to make during training camp. Amon-Ra St. Brown, J-Mo Fireball, Tim Patrick, and Isaac Taslaw feel like locks to make the final roster. I'm tempted to put Khalif Raymond in this category as well, considering his utility on special teams. He is the best punt returner in the NFL statistically when healthy. That already gives the Lions 5 wide receivers, does not leave much room for anyone else. That could be bad news for Ronnie Bell. Detroit added Bell, a former 49ers wide receiver, to the practice squad back in January. Bell has been working hard with the Lions this all offseason, but that may not be enough to ensure he has a home in Detroit. Bell will join Lovett in a camp battle with Tom Kennedy, TK85, Malik Taylor, Jackson Meeks, and Jacoby Kene James. This is a tough competition as Kennedy has been a long preseason darling for the Lions. Early word out of Detroit is that Jackson Meeks could be making some noise during training camp as well. Let's not us forget that Jackson Meeks is the nephew of Big Z Zadarius Smith. Ronnie Bell is in some serious danger of being cut this summer. So the wide receiver room, far too crowded. Let's be honest. Ronnie Bell should compete. Come in and compete well. Push guys. But the reality of the situation is you're probably going to be a practice squad guy. Let's be honest. If everything goes well, if J-Mo stays healthy, Amon-Ra stays healthy, Tim Patrick's knees hold up, and Isaac Tesla emerges, it's going to be slim pickings. It's already slim pickings for the wide receiver 3. It's already slim pickings for the wide receiver 2. Okay? Jameson Williams had 1,000 yards because he averaged over 17 yards a catch, right? What do you have, like 60 catches? You know what I'm saying? Didn't even get into the upper 80s. You know what I'm saying? So obviously the pecking order, once you get out of the wide receiver 2 and 3, the picking order 1, 2, and 3, you're going Amon-Ra. Sam Laporte is the number 2 wide receiving option on the team as it sits right now, even though John Morton is clearly engineering the offense to exploit Jameson Williams' phenomenal downfield playmaking ability. And our running backs are both top-end options out of the backfield. So, once you get into these 5th, 6th wide receiver spots, your special teams and your production players. You know what I'm saying? DaRon Gilbert could be the unlucky linebacker cut before training camp. One of the easiest positions on the team to prediction a cut for is the linebacker room. The rationale is quite simple. The Lions have 10 linebackers on the roster heading into training camp, which is a huge number for the modern NFL. Yeah, you've got 3 players. You got your first, second, and third stringer plus an extra cat. You know what I'm saying? Detroit has enjoyed solid linebacker play over the past few seasons, and it is set to continue in 2025. Both part of that because of the players that we have, and Alex Anzalone contract disputes aside, has been a massive part of that, as well as Calvin Shepard just climbing through the ranks of the coaching world, making a name for himself, elevated the outside linebackers, promoted to linebackers coach, and now is the defensive coordinator. Shepard has a lot to do with the evolution of the linebacker room here in Detroit. Alex Anal's own Action Jack Campbell and Derek Big Name Barnes are set for the Lions in 2025. Malcolm Rodriguez, Trevor Nowitzki, and others will be in the competition for rotational roles at best. Well, Malcolm Rodriguez is going to be injured until November, so we're not going to worry about that. Nowitzki's got to compete with guys. That's going to be a tough hill for Trevor Nowitzki to climb. This brings us back to DaRon Gilbert. Gilbert is currently sitting at the bottom of the Detroit depth chart heading into training camp. He has an incredibly difficult path to make the final roster. Gilbert is in competition with players that universally bring more to the table. Grant Stewart, Ezekiel Turner, and Zach Cunningham, and Anthony Pittman all have NFL have more NFL experience than Gilbert. Pittman also has plenty of special teams experience, so there may not be room for a special teams linebacker on the team either. Ultimately, the Lions need as many bodies as possible for training camp, while Rodriguez continues to recover from season-ending ACL surgery. Sorry, excuse me, guys. That was really gross. This could keep Gilbert on the roster for the part of training camp, but he is also guaranteed almost guaranteed to be cut sometime this summer. Holy cow! Woo! My sinuses have gone bananas, boys. Is it time for the Lions to give up on defensive tackle Brodric Martin? The Lions will eventually have to throw in the towel on Brodric Martin. It could happen as early as the summer. It should have happened as early as yesterday. Why is this man still on the roster, eating up space, eating up resources, eating up food at the fucking facility? Detroit selected defensive tackle Brodric Martin in the 3rd round of the 2023 draft. He is one of a rare day 2 draft pick by Brad Holmes that looks like a clear miss. The Lions were panned shortly after the draft for trading away a day 3 pick to trade up for Martin. As a prospect, Martin presented plenty of upside. He has ideal size to play defensive tackle in the NFL. However, he is not very athletic and is not great about shedding blocks. So he's just a big fat ass in the middle. Martin has only played in 5 games over the past 2 seasons. In those games, he has logged 4 tackles with just 1 solo tackle. Martin's resume alone makes him a candidate to be cut. What makes matters worse is that Martin is facing more competition than ever on the interior of Detroit's defensive line. The Lions already had 2 great starters in Aleem, the Dream McNeil, and DJ Reader heading into the offseason. Detroit kept their foot on the gas, signing Roy Lopez's depth. They also drafted Tyreek the Freak Williams in the first round of the 2025 NFL Draft. Now the Lions have arguably 6 players ahead of Martin on the depth chart when you add second-year player Mekhi Wingo to the list. There is no guarantee that Martin will be cut before training camp. He could even survive training camp somehow or make it to Detroit's practice squad. Regardless, it does not feel too soon to say that Brodric Martin experiment in Detroit was a failure. Yes, the sooner we can go ahead and move on from Brodric Martin, the better. That would make me very happy to have one less big fat ass eating up all kinds of resources, taking reps away from guys who need it. He never worked out, both on the field or I guess he did lose some weight last year, but Brodric Martin, you're just a putz, dude. You're just a putz. Let's call it what it is. He's a putz. He's a putz, and we don't have time for putzes on this team. We're going to walk on over to the chat. Pillow Talk Radio. Hell yeah, Sam Armstrong. Excuse me. Tired of hearing all the talk about how Brodric Martin has changed his body. If he doesn't change his pad level, he's gone. LOL. Brent DeWitt, when the only good thing we can say about you is that you lost a bunch of weight one off season. That's the high point of your NFL career, is that as a world-class athlete with world-class resources during an offseason, you managed to lose some weight. That's the high watermark of your career. To the UFL with you, my friend. Don't be surprised if undrafted rookie free agent safety Ian Kennelly bumps our late draft pick Dan Jackson, going to have a great camp battle. All right, so Ian Kennelly's the name we got to keep an eye out for. You know, Brent, I was kind of hoping that Dan Jackson would be a sneaky guy. But he's just not making a lot of big splashes or nothing, at least in the early stages of pajama practices. Heard Robertson might be on the bubble. Probably. Wouldn't be surprised. Is Vaki in trouble or be a special team stud, even though they drafted Dan Jackson for the team? So I think Sione Vaki will... if I'm being honest, if Sione Vaki can take an extra step towards his offensive production, I think he'll solidify himself as that gadget special teams player, but also maybe might start to see a few more reps go his way on the offensive side of the ball, simply because I think Craig Reynolds is going to start to take steps back in his career. And we'd seen last year, especially when Monty went down, we do need a third running back on the team who can come in and spell both guys. And I think Sione Vaki does enough of what both Monty and Gibbs do at a high enough level, better than, say, Craig Reynolds does. Craig Reynolds does bring a return element to and I don't mean returning to the team, I mean a special teams return element to the team. But Vaki's value as a all-around special teamer, I think, bumps him ahead of Craig Reynolds as far as justification of keeping him on the team. Amik the Freak on the bubble. Brent DeWitt, I don't think so. I am very, very, very much in the camp of Amik Robertson is on this team to do one thing and one thing only, and that one thing he does really, really well, and that is to match up and shut down JJ twice a year. So as long as, in my opinion, if based on the free agents that we brought into the secondary and the hype around Enos Rakestraw Jr., as well as the flexibility of Brian Branch to be able to come down and play in the slot, I think what you'll see is Amik Robertson being able to stay. Look, as long as he's only as long as he can do it twice a year, that's all I care about. He's not a big cap hit, and if he can do that one thing he's done his entire career really, really well, I think he stays on the team. And that being shut down JJ. Four shows said it. Oh, Four shows said Robertson might be on the bubble, huh? I mean, it could be, or it could just be talk. Yeah, I don't know, Kerry. I'm gonna be honest, buddy. I don't know. Exactly, Sam. Exactly. I like Amik because he's got JJ's number. Don't like the idea of cutting the guy that can shut down JJ. Exactly. Well, that's the thing. We got to keep him. They said because of what they would save. You also like him. You do like Robertson? I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know why you would cut Robertson when he is the kryptonite to JJ. I know it sounds really silly to have one player do one specific thing twice a year really, really well. But I mean, we do have the best punter in the league, and he does one thing really, really well. We have one of the better big leg kickers in the league, and he does one thing really, really well. Contractually, Amik Robertson isn't costing you that much. You know what I'm saying? And even if it isn't what he can do on the field, maybe he knows something up here that he can teach the young guys to shut down JJ. I just like the idea of keeping that JJ kryptonite on the roster. You know what I'm saying? White safeties are rare, Mr. Detroit City. White DBs are starting to become a little bit more of a thing, though. Look at old Cooper DeJean. Brad Coast on Cooper DeJean. That's why that was the only one worth it. That's true. Cooper DeJean. I would have liked to have Cooper DeJean over like a Enos Rakestraw or something like that. You can't bury someone who comes from the dart. That's one of the greatest games of the speeches after shutting down JJ. Sam Armstrong. That was and like the emotion that Amik had when saying that. You know what I'm saying? It does seem to always come down to money. Yes, Brent replying to Kerry. It does seem to come down to money, but I don't think that we are in a bad enough financial situation that cutting Amik Robertson or even trading Amik Robertson is going to justify that move. If we're really concerned about the money, Brad Holmes can always restructure the deal with him. I think Amik Robertson is become a fan favorite. He loves what we do. He fits what we do here. And again, the kryptonite to JJ is totally worth it. It's totally worth it. It's totally worth it having the one thing that can stop Justin Jefferson historically. You know what I'm saying? Not just once in a while, but historically at every level, he shuts down JJ. You know what I'm saying? He is a great jammer, Mad Dog. You're right. He's a great jammer, and he's a great tackler, too. I hope it ain't so, too, Kerry. I really hope that. So what I'm hoping is that the Amik Robertson smoke of him being released or traded or cut by the Lions is similar to what we've seen around JMO in the draft with the trades. And now rumors are speculating that the Lions are already trying to work on a long-term deal for JMO. That he is the top priority of locking up a long-term deal, or at least first on the docket to lock up a long-term deal. So it could just be smoke. Remember, guys, we are in the back end of the offseason. We've chased down stories. We've tried to find smoke and fire at smoke. A lot of these stories are just filler so that we can fill out the time, fill out the season, so we have something to talk about. And you know, guys like Amik Robertson will get a little bit of traction with the idea of him being cut because of how valuable he is to the team. You know what I'm saying? Position that should be valuable to the team is the QB2 spot. And unfortunately, we haven't really seen the development out of our third-round pick from a couple years ago, a guy that I was very, very high on, and that would be former Heisman Trophy candidate. It could have been a first-round pick if he hadn't destroyed his knee in college, and that would be Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker in pajama practices, Hendon Hooker in preseason. Not really what you want to be seeing. So the Lions went ahead and they said, hey, we're going to go and sign Kyle Allen to try and push Hendon Hooker a little bit. And unfortunately, so far in pajama practices, things have not been looking the best out of the two of them. So that's going to bring us on over here to Detroit Lions on SI. Should the Lions sign Michigan Panthers quarterback, UFL MVP and Offensive Player of the Year, former Super Bowl champion Bryce Perkins? Would Bryce Perkins offer strong competition for Hendon Hooker? This story jumped out to me because, one, I'm a Michigan Panthers fan. Two, this is something we have talked about regularly, especially the past couple weeks on this here very show, and that is, should the Lions look at Bryce Perkins? Should the Lions consider what's it going to hurt to bring him in and at least have him compete in camp in the preseason? Maybe the little bit of exposure that he had early on and the career path that he's had to take to get back to the league. Maybe he's that guy. Maybe he fits what we do here. Maybe it's time to move on from Hendon Hooker. You know what I'm saying? I like what I see out of Bryce Perkins in the UFL, but let's be honest. The talent level at the UFL is significantly lower than where it is at the NFL. There are some guys who can ball, but week in and week out, you're not playing the same degree. So, yes, although we see greatness out of Bryce Perkins against lesser talent, will we see flashes of? Could we see flashes of what made Bryce Perkins the UFL MVP in the NFL? P.J. Walker once had mild success as a backup quarterback. You know what I'm saying? There are guys who kind of pop on rosters periodically. We talked about Jordan Taiamu last week, who probably should have won UFL MVP. So, guys, before we get into this, if you haven't already, would you kindly subscribe to the channel if you're new here? Ring that notification bell so that you never miss out on any uploads Monday through Wednesday. Go ahead and assault that like button. Hit her with the old dope bass and a biscuit on your way down to the share button, where you can go ahead and copy that link down onto your clipboard and share it around with all your friends if you feel so inclined. I would genuinely appreciate that. So, wow, John McCrown, your hair is getting a little light there. Getting a little light in the hair there. One of the most intriguing position battles that will take place at Detroit Lions training camp this fall will be for the backup quarterback spot behind Jared Goff. Currently, the room is comprised of Goff, the 2023 third-round pick Hendon Hooker, and veteran Kyle Allen. Hooker is the presumed favorite as a draft pick of the team who has had some success in the preseason, while Allen is an experienced veteran with 19 career starts under his belt. With training camp still some time on the horizon, perhaps the Lions could see some benefit in adding some more competition into that mix. If so, one of the solid options is current Michigan Panthers quarterback in 2025 UFL MVP, Bryce Perkins. On Saturday, Perkins and the Panthers will take the national stage. The UFL, they got the shit kicked out of them. We're not going to talk about that. The Panthers got the ever-living shit kicked out of them, and it was a terrible game. The 28-year-old has had a taste of the NFL in the past, having signed with the Los Angeles Rams as an undrafted free agent, while Lions GM Brad Holmes was a member of the Rams front office. He appeared in 5 games with 1 start with the Rams, all during the 2022 season. In that audition, Perkins threw for 161 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions with a 55.9 completion percentage. Get out of here. During a recent interview with NFL Super Bowl winning coach John Gruden, Perkins explained that his growth has been tied to more comfort in his process of making post-snap reads as well as his extending plays with his eyes downfield. Quote, I think it's preparation and post-snap reads. My comfortability post-snap seeing and making decisions has gotten a lot quicker. Even over the years, that's something that I realized. This is something you've got to get better at, Perkins said. You've got to start seeing things because it never stays the same, and trusting guys, going out there and understanding I can make every throw and I don't have to use my legs all the time. And when I get out of there, start running around, guys pop open. It's hard for those guys to stick to these receivers when they're in the scramble drill. So making sure I get the guys involved and let the playmakers make plays. Perkins' athleticism would present a new dynamic for the Lions to evaluate throughout the training camp and preseason, as he would instantly become the most mobile of the players competing for Goff's backup. His time in the UFL has indeed helped his development, as the opportunity to go through progressions and lead drives against live defenses is beneficial, regardless of level. With his internal clock and processing ability increasing from his last opportunity in the NFL, he could certainly challenge Hooker and Allen. He was more efficient at the UFL level, completing 69% of his passes. While the competition isn't exactly the same caliber of the NFL at this level, there are plenty of players who have played in the NFL, and he's competing against currently. Perkins is just 1 year older than Hooker. While he may not have the upside as Hooker, he does bring plenty to the table from a skill and athleticism perspective. As such, investing in Perkins could have solid results for the Lions team that has been unafraid to give players from the spring leagues opportunities in the past. Just look at our old boy, Big Leg. The Ballad of Jake Bates will continue. After the season, Perkins told Gruden that he would be interested. He would indeed desire another opportunity to suit up at the NFL level, and his bank account would like that as well. Quote, I definitely want to give it another shot. I think everything from leaving the NFL to coming here was necessary for my growth as a player. I've worked hard to be here and would love another shot. I also understand how things go sometimes. But right now, definitely want to win a championship. I tell everybody, no matter what goals you have, personal goals, winning solves everything. So win a championship and let the chips fall where they may. Well, we didn't win a championship. We got the living shit kicked out of us. Ultimately, adding Perkins would do little harm other than generating less reps for Hooker and Allen. Competition has always been an important part of the organization, and as a result, finding more for both of their current options would carry benefits for all parties involved. Personally, I like the idea of bringing in Bryce Perkins, even if he doesn't end up being the QB2. I like the competition. Iron sharpens iron. Isn't that kind of our thing around here in Detroit? Iron sharpens iron, and we want the best available players to be at the best available opportunity that they can have. 2 Cajun. Yes, Sam Armstrong. They are 2 Louisiana boys going at it, talking about Amik Robertson and JJ. John Macaron, bald as hell. # shave that head. You know, Mr. Detroit City, I do like the content that John puts out there, but brother, at a certain point, you just got to lean into it and become Walter White. You know what I'm saying? Just off with your hair. Off with your hair. Want them to take a flyer on Shamar Stewart. Yeah, I kind of thought we would. Well, some speculation has it, Kerry, that the Lions were trying to trade up at the Bengals to go after Shamar Stewart. And not for nothing, but Shamar Stewart seems kind of pissed that he got drafted by the Bengals. Ha! Brent DeWitt! That's awesome! Ha! Brent DeWitt! That's funny. Brent DeWitt says, if Kyle Allen is the answer, you're asking the wrong questions. Yes, dude! If Kyle Allen's the answer, you're asking the wrong fucking questions, my guy. Bring in Perkins. He's a great practice squad dual threat QB, and that's kind of what I was saying, dude. Worst case scenario, he's a practice squad guy, and the looks that he can give your defense is better than anybody else in-house. That's exactly what I'm talking about, dude. He gives you a better look even on the practice squad. You know what I'm saying? Who do you got? Perkins or Hooker? Didn't we talk about Hooker could dominate the UFL? Then what would be an even swap? That dude, Sam Armstrong. That's what I'm saying, dude. I think Hendon Hooker should go to the UFL. I think that would be what's best for him. Agreed. That would be a great competition for all. And see, guys, I'm glad you're seeing it the way I'm seeing it. Is that worst case scenario? Bryce Perkins is a great look practice squad player for our organization. We need to be able to stop. I mean, we play Jalen Hurts this year. We have to go to Philly, right? So might as well have someone who can give us a good look at the old tush push, someone who can be a little bit more mobile, who can move around, keep our defense on its toes, give us an honest, good look. Or who knows, maybe he straight up shows up, balls out, and just outright beats Hendon Hooker and Kyle Allen. Just outright beats them for the number 2 QB spot. All right, guys. It is 4 minutes to 11. We're going to run a little bit over here. We are going to talk about the UFL. But before we get into that, I just want to say thank you for tuning in. I appreciate all you guys showing up. Tomorrow, there will be no show. We are going to run a little bit late today. There will be no show. I have mandatory overtime. I got to be in. I'll be at work by the time the show starts, and I'm pulling a 12-hour day tomorrow. Mandatory overtime because of the changeover that's happening between ownership, right? So tomorrow there will be no show, but we will be live Wednesday as normal. So only 2 shows this week. I did think about doing a show Thursday because I actually have Thursday off for a holiday because it's Juneteenth. Personally, I was under the assumption that Juneteenth was from the end of June 12th through the start of June 20th because that's all of the teenths. But evidently it is specifically on June 19th. So Thursday, I got a paid holiday, so I'll be off. But just a reminder, Wednesday night, make sure that you leave a speedball out so that St. George Floyd knows what houses to come and start a riot at. And make sure that Thursday night you have your traditional dinner of fried chicken and grape Kool-Aid. So, what's next for the UFL? News on expansion attendance plans for the 2026 season. St. Louis, gold and white confetti fell into the Dome of America Center on Saturday night as the DC Defenders put a bow on the United Football League's second season by winning their first Spring League title. The UFL leaders will take a moment to bask in the glow of the championship game, which featured record-breaking performances from the Defenders, 58 points, and Jordan Tayamo, 390 yards and 5 total touchdowns. Like I said, Jordan Tayamo should have been the UFL MVP. I'm just saying, and I'm a Bryce Perkins fan. I'm also a Jordan Tayamo fan. Jordan Tayamo dominated this league. But in the weeks after, the league will be looking for ways to improve and planning the sessions ahead of the 2026 season. That will include beefing up efforts to improve attendance, exploring expansion, and considering several changes that can improve and make more exciting what it believes is an already strong on-field product. Here's a look at what the next UFL as the leagues enter its second full offseason since the 2024 USFL XFL merger. I don't know if expansion is going to be a possibility here, guys. I think some relocation needs to happen. We talked about this last week. Houston, the Roughnecks need to be relocated to Oklahoma City or somewhere in Oklahoma, simply because then you have the built-in Red River rivalry. Texas is a little oversaturated with football teams. Memphis needs to be relocated to another city anywhere. The Showboats need to go someplace else because Memphis is not a football town. I would like to see 2 more teams brought in to expand it out to 10 teams, though the money might be an issue. We do need to get more money. The NFL needs to get behind the UFL to have better advertising, access to maybe higher caliber talent level, and then also the marketing behind them would just absolutely dominate. Will the UFL expand for the 2026 season? The UFL has not yet announced any plans to expand for the 2026 campaign, but it continues to explore markets that could potentially house future teams. Oops, get out of here. We're looking heavily into the process, Brandon said, of expansion. We're taking a lot of rigor to it. We're taking a lot of time and effort to do it the right way. The UFL's Executive Vice President of Football Operations, Daryl Johnston, added that it'd be great to hear so many are interested in the league's potential expansion. However, he was adamant sustainability is at the front of the league's mind as it evaluates potential UFL markets. Quote, one of the things that Russ always talks about is incremental growth and doing it in a way that is sound and provides us the opportunity to make sure this league is sustainable moving forward, Johnston said. Before adding, quote, it was right. When it's right for the league, that's when we'll make the decision. The league's reticence about expansion comes after Pro Football's Mark Florio reported USFL Enterprises LLC, which owns the USFL conference side of the UFL, had filled trademarks for the names of the 4 original USFL teams: the Oakland Invaders, Philadelphia Stars, New Jersey Generals, and the Tampa Bay Bandits. I don't know where the Bay is or where Tampa Bay is at, but I know where Tampa is at, and I know where there's a bay in Tampa, but I don't know where Tampa Bay is at. The filings occurred on May 6, 2025, and it isn't clear whether the league views these potential future markets options or if it just wants to own the former USFL team names. Either way, the USFL isn't looking to rush into a hasty decision about expansion. The league is simply getting its ducks in a row as it considers the possibility. Quote, I think as we stand now, we will continue to look it over for the next few months, meet with the board, make some decisions, but I think it's a very good place for a process standpoint. Oh, excuse me. UFL attendance. League remains focused on improvement. Expansions in one of the UFL eventual goals, but improving its attendance remains one of its number one priorities. The UFL's overall attendance declined by 5% in 2025, according to the Sports Business Journal. That includes seeing downturn in turnout across 7 of the league's 8 home markets, with the Michigan Panthers' 30.4% increase in attendance serving as the outlier. Look at you go! Look at you guys go! Yeah! That's right. Panthers showing out. Prowl, baby. Let's go. Those results could be viewed as discouraging, given the UFL invested resources into each of its markets for the 2025 season in hopes of improving attendance. Or the economy, stupid. However, Brandon outlined the 2025 campaign was the first ahead of which the league was able to fully focus on its attendance goals. Much of the 2024 season was spent getting operations situated after the USFL-XFL merger closed on January 13th, just 2.5 months before the start of the season. We're drinking out a fire hose operationally to get up and running, Brandon detailed. But after learning more about the consumer habits of in 2025, UFL owner Danny Garcia explained the league has a better idea of what, quote, the markets actually think of us. This is the year that we got the clarity, and now we know who we are, and now we push forward, Garcia said. As such, the league's focus on investment in market-by-market strategies to improve attendance will continue on. Here's an idea. Hire me as one of your commentators for the games. We know this. We have a great product. We know it's affordable, Brandon said. We're trying to activate as much as possible in each of those local markets. And we have a great plan, I believe, in place to do that. UFL to evaluate start of season date. And that's something I kind of talked about when I said, what could the UFL do better? And that is they need to capitalize on the high of the NFL draft. And you need to start your season the week, maybe even the second week following the NFL draft, so you can continue to keep football in the forefront of everyone's mind. The UFL has started its seasons on March 28th in consecutive years. Brandon revealed the league is planning to evaluate whether that rough time frame which was established to split the difference between the XFL and USFL start dates following the 2024 merger, works. Quote, we're going to take a look and see what makes sense, not only the player feedback, but our consumer feedback as well. The UFL current start date forces it to face early season ratings competition from the NCAA tournament, which could be a start of the reason overall TV viewership for 2025 declined by 20%. We didn't seem overly worried about the state of the league's TV ratings, referring to them as phenomenal. Quote, people would give their eye teeth for a moment of eyeballs that are watching our games on TV. I don't know what eye teeth are. People would give their eye teeth. I'm stupid. UFL training camp length under evaluation. The UFL set its roster size at 64 for the 2025 season after it was 75 for 2024. That roster size reduction also prompted the league to cut training camp from 4 weeks to 3 weeks. Some UFL offenses got off to a slower start in 2025. Ain't that the truth? The defense really led the league the majority of the season. And was hoping, the league was hoping, so Johnston explained going back to a 4-week training camp could be in play. Quote, those will be conversations we have with our coaches. Did that impact you? Or do they need more time? Johnson also opined one of the reasons the UFL team struggled out of the gate was because they hadn't yet found their number one quarterback. He and Brandon pointed out the Houston Roughnecks, who finished 5-5 despite starting the season with a 1-3 record, as one of the prime examples, as their performance improved coincided with Jalen McClendon's insertion into the starting quarterback role. Yeah, Houston did turn around under McClendon. A longer training camp could allow coaches to more time to evaluate the position and make all important calls about Week 1 starters. You have to play your guys in Week 1, Johnson said. I hope that's just the big lesson and the teams learned this year. Could UFL free agency shake up the league? UFL rosters have often been plundered in the offseason of the NFL teams swoop in and scoop up some of the league's top players to give them a shot making it in the UFL. However, the league is set to have some of its own players experiencing free agency ahead of the 2026 season. We've actually got players experiencing free agency this year, so there could be movement with guys being on a team or two for 2 consecutive seasons. That will create a new challenge. UFL teams, in addition to one posed by omnipresent threat of losing players to the professional leagues, namely the NFL. How do we create that continuity where we're able to retain those guys without other teams coming in and picking off some of the higher profile, more successful players in the league, try to bring them their way? You got to pay them more. Yeah, money talks, bullshit walks. It's pretty fucking simple. You guys need more money. He believes that off-the-field battle for players could create some additional excitement within the league circles. I think it's going to be a fun off-season for us and our young league to grow and mature. So, everything kind of being held close to the chest. That drop-off in attendance and viewership by 5% is going to be a major thorn in the developmental side of things. We're going to walk on over to the chat, pick you guys up one last time here. Where did I leave off at? I like both would learn a hooker and preseason, see what hooker's progression at. I took the 18th off for my birthday, and then I got the next one off for the Juneteenth. I'll take it. There you go, Chase. You get a nice little 2-day weekend. So Wednesday's your birthday. All right, guy. We'll make sure and give you a little shout out on Wednesday for your birthday, Chase. That's what's up. Panthers got reminded of what Keanu Reeves said in The Replacements. Quicksand. Dude, they played like shit. Brent, did you watch that game, dude? The Panthers played like shit. I think it should be a place for all cuts from the NFL and a place where injured players go to. Dude, Carey, yes, bro. Just like the G League used to be. Like, players could go and rehab there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not, obviously, like, Hutch would be a little ridiculous, but guys who are coming off of season-ending injuries early on in the season, you could get them a little bit more game speed rehab. You know what I'm saying? I'd give one of my nuts for a chip. No shit, Mr. Detroit City. Right on, guys. Right on. So what do you think? What do you think about this poll here? We ended up with 8 votes. When the night falls, the loneliness calls. Yeah, I want to dance with somebody. Taking it away with 62% of the vote. 38% second place with cheese is the only answer for that. And none of you think that I'm an odd duck. I appreciate that, fellas. Thank you very, very much. That is awesome. We're going to go ahead and close that poll out. Oh, sorry. My ears are so popping, dude. Yeah, Mr. Brent DeWitt, I'm with you and Carey on the using the spring league as a little bit of a rehab developmental style league. You know what I'm saying? That'd be pretty sick, dude. Because then you could get the draw of some people wanting to come and see the big name players. You know, bigger name players. Let's be honest. So today, boys, we ran a little bit late, but that's totally all right. There is 11 of you hanging out down in the chat. That's super duper awesome. 13 of you hanging out down in the chat. That's super duper awesome. Today we talked about former NFL star and potato brain Antonio Brown. Whoops, lost one of my lights. Antonio Brown wanted on attempted murder charge in Miami, and we talked about the ridiculousness that is Antonio Brown in his post-playing career. We then walked over and got a little political with it as former Minnesota Vikings and University football player Jack Brewer spoke out against, well, the regime going on and the leadership of the great state of Minnesota. Get out of here. Ex-Vikings player blames, quote, weak and emasculated Tim Walz for Minnesota lawmaker killings. He's not wrong. The things he had to say in it, I completely agree with. The left has lost their ever-loving minds, and Tim Wiener Walz seems to just allow it to happen in his state, and it's disgusting. We then got back on track talking about football again and getting a little bit more local with it. We talked about our big fat boy here, Brodric Martin, and how every day that he's still on the roster is one day too many here for the Detroit Lions, as well as a couple other potential cut candidates before training camp can either get underway. Finally, we ended up talking a little UFL news, tying the two together, making that Michigan connection. Should the Lions take a look at UFL, MVP, and Offensive Player of the Year, Michigan Panthers quarterback and Super Bowl champion with the LA Rams, Bryce Perkins? Not only does he bring upside as a dual-threat quarterback, but he could be the guy to unseat or finally push Hendon Hooker to be what he is, boom or bust. And then finally, we wrapped up with talking about the UFL, what's next in the coming season, some speculation around the UFL, what we could consider in terms of expansion, attendance, and what the overall plan is. Some rumors that we'll kind of keep an eye out for as this offseason kind of progresses. But as the offseason of the UFL gets underway, the regular season of the NFL starts. So that's going to be our main draw and our main focus. Guys, I appreciate all of you. Juneteenth is not a holiday. It's not. It's not. It's not a holiday. It's a joke holiday. That's why I say you got to leave your speedball out for St. George Floyd to know which houses to start a riot at and eat your ceremonial dinner of fried chicken and grape Kool-Aid. Sam, dude, we turned the game off too, bro. Oh my God, Sam Armstrong, that's hilarious. We got halfway into the game and I was just like, I'm not watching this, and we ended up watching the last couple episodes of the Dale Earnhardt documentary on Amazon, which you should check out. That's actually a really good documentary. I strongly recommend that. Someone needs to mention it to the NFL. Kerry, I agree. I don't think the NFL, I think the NFL is a little too stuffy right now to fully embrace the UFL. I think the NFL still has their head up their own ass and they're sniffing their own farts saying that we make the rules. We are the NFL. Everyone else is trying to be us. Why would we ever start a partnership, similar to what they did with like NFL Europe? You know what I mean? I just think that the NFL is just being a little too, viewing them as too much of the little brother right now. It was a hard watch, Brent. It was such a hard watch. That's why I gave up on it. Haven't seen secondary like that since Rich Rod was coaching Michigan. Oh, Brent, dude. Brent, you got jokes today, my guy. You are on it today. You are a funny motherfucker today, guys. All right, fellas. So, if you haven't already, would you kindly subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell so you never miss out on future content. Let's go ahead and assault that like button on your way out the door. Hit it with the old 2-piece and a biscuit. Share this around with all your friends. I really appreciate it. Please, reminder, there is no show tomorrow. When there should be a show, I will be slaving away at my wage cage, just slaving away. But we will be back Wednesday for a big happy birthday show to our boy. I'm Chasing Chase, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Central here at, or 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Standard, 9 a.m. Central here at youtube.com/The Hat and Beard Show. I appreciate all of you guys tuning in, telling a friend, helping us grow. It's awesome. It's been a fun day today. Hopefully you guys have a great start to your week. Stay out of trouble. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. You've been an attentive audience. I've been Hat and Beard. Until next time, bonga bonga. Frig off.